Welcome to my Stop Fighting with Your Son podcast. If this is your first time here, I recorded 4 episodes especially for you to help you eliminate the fights right away and start connecting with your boy as soon as possible. Go to episodes 54 through 59. I have 4 boys of my own, and I know better than anyone how much you want to have a good relationship with your boy and all the things that can come in your way. If you are a mom of boys, I am the coach for you. Let's go. Hey guys, how are you all doing this week? I am doing great. I have a fun topic today to talk about. Big plans or big projects or big goals. This is January, and I'm sure some of you have big goals. Everyone has working out goals, losing weight, right? Anything like that. Not fighting with their loved ones, not fighting with your son. What are your big goals? I'm here to help you. I have 4 tips, 4 ways that you can approach them that will help you get them actually underway. Start taking action towards them. And this was inspired by my conversation with a friend. We went on a walk and we talked about some of our things that we want to get going and are doing. And one of the things that she wants to do is get this big photo project done and get all the pictures from the last 5 years printed, sorted into 4 different albums and give them as gifts to her kids. We were laughing because I'm a big proponent of not doing any of that for different reasons, because I just decided that the present is the most important and it needs space in our brain and our life. And so looking back at the past will take our present, and I don't want to do that. But anyway, regardless of that, no judgment on the project. I was laughing and saying, don't do it. But because she told me she has been trying to get it done for 2 years, I was suggesting to her, you have to pick one thing that you can do this week towards it, right? Commit to one thing. What does it look like? How much time are you going to spend on it? And make it, super small, compact, and put it on the calendar, right? Otherwise, it stays very big and very vague. And it's so big that you don't want to do anything about it because you're feeling overwhelmed. And that's how we all feel if we have a big plan, lose 20 pounds. That sounds quite big and seems like you need to take a lot of steps to take it. And so if you don't make it any smaller, you will probably stay in that planning stage and not taking action stage, right? So we talked about that, and I told her about my big goal this year. One of them, personal goal, is to do yoga. And so for me, I have picked that I will do yoga once a week. I will go to a yoga class and once a week. So this is what inspired my episode for you guys today is the problems that we all have are that the overwhelm because it's such a big thing. What does it look like? A person who does yoga, what does that mean? Do I do it every week? I don't even know where to go for it. I don't have an instructor that I like. I want to do it at home, but I want to also go to class. Which videos can I watch online? All these thoughts have come up in my head and prevented me from actually doing yoga. So that's why I came up with 4 specific things you can do to help yourself start doing something towards your big plan. Okay, so the first thing that I recommend is asking yourself this one question: what does it look like this week? This big plan that I want to accomplish, like the photo album or doing yoga. Or if I want to have 0 fights with my son, what does it look like this week? And for me, on my search with the yoga, I haven't even found the instructor that I like, the studio that I like. My plan is to try a new class once a week. That's my plan. What does it look like this week? I will try one yoga class this week. That is all. And if I do that, that means I am on my way to my accomplishing my big goal. Okay? So do you see how it takes this big plan and simplifies it into a very practical first step you can take today and put it on your calendar this week? And the best part is once you put on your calendar, once you do it, then you have the freedom to believe and think and feel good about yourself that you are actually doing and something towards your big goal. I love this, right? So what does it look like in terms of 0 fights? Like, that's pretty vague, right? What does 0 fights look like? You can, what does that look like for you this week if you want to be the 0 fights person, right? You can pick what a question you can ask yourself. For example, you can ask yourself, what is my son, what is he going through right now? If he's 2, if he's 12, if he's 42, what is he going through right now? And really, really explore the answer to that question. Right? What that question and answer creates is connection with him, and connection is the opposite of fighting, right? So that's a one way you can practice being a 0 fights person today or this week. You can even say, I will just ask myself this question once a week, because this is the smallest step that I can actually commit to now. You can also ask yourself, what is it like for him now when he's interacting with me? And explore that answer. What's it like for him? Okay. Another way that you can be a 0 fights person, and what does it look like for you this week, is you can decide to be curious and listen specifically. And you can decide, okay, tonight when I see my son, or tomorrow when he calls, I'm going to practice being curious about what he's saying and just listen without any judgment and without any reaction. I'm going to save my reaction for after, for example. You can just decide that that's how you're going to practice that, right? And another way you can decide to practice being a 0 fights person is ask yourself this question: how can I be wrong here? How am I wrong about my son here? And answer it and see what you can find. And if you're wrong about your judgment about your son and you find that you are wrong, and you have to really dig deep to find that, then what happens is you again create more connection to your son. You start to see things from a different perspective, which helps you not get into a fight with him. Okay, so this summarizes the first question you can ask yourself to get you closer to accomplishing your big goal. What does it look like this week if I'm doing this big goal? What does it look like this week? Pick one thing. Don't try to do 5 workouts, and don't try to create the most amazing relationship with your son this week and go on vacation with him, or like have dinner and him be happy and you be happy, right? Make it super duper small. Like for a while there, my yoga looked like 5 minutes a day at home. I just did 5 downward dogs and 5 planks. That's it. And I decided that that's what me as doing yoga, that's what it looks like. And that's good enough. Okay. So for you, just listening and being curious about him is good enough. Okay. Now, the second question you can ask yourself that will help you get to accomplishing your big goal is, what are they thinking? And they are the person who's already doing what you want to be doing. I love this step so much, because if you actually pay attention, you will find a lot of different people already exhibiting the behavior that you want. Like if you see someone working out every day, what are they thinking? If you see somebody who is, so connected to their son, and their son calls them every day, and they're just so happy that the son's doing well and everything. What are they thinking, right? They're not fighting. They're having a good time. What are they thinking? And a lot, like when I do that research for me, a lot of times when I ask the person, what, tell me about this. How is it? How are you doing that? Or why are you able to do that? Or tell me, like, what's your thinking? What's your reasoning? It's so fascinating to see, because the person who is already doing that behavior, for example, yoga, if I ask them, they would say, oh, this is just what I do. Right? And that gives you a very interesting perspective on the brain of the person who's already doing that. And you are free to borrow those thoughts for yourself. It actually works for anything. I've had so many people tell me, oh, that's just what I do. That's just what I do. I just go to a yoga class on Tuesday night. That's just what I do. I get up and I do yoga for 5 minutes. And there is not even thinking behind it anymore, because they made it a habit. So how can you start thinking that, oh, that's just what I do. I get up and I go to yoga. That's just what I do. I try one new yoga class every week. And in terms of you and your boy, I love these thoughts. He's a good boy, because it connects you to the idea. It reminds you of the truth that he's actually a good boy. And even though you know that kind of theoretically, and you always know that, just by thinking it actually on purpose, gets you out of focusing on all the fighting. He's a good boy, right? That gets you out of the place where you don't want to be, and gets you into a connection, gets you into love for him, and gets you into seeing what it is that you actually want to see, that he's a good boy. And it's pretty general and vague, and anyone can think that about their boy. So that's what I love about that thought. He's a good boy, or I love him, right? Those thoughts are very powerful, because when you hear them, you think, well, that's just pretty standard. Of course I love him. Of course he's a good boy. But blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you about what he's not doing, how he's talking back to me, and I'm worried about his future. He's ruining it, whatever, right? Notice how the second part comes of the but. And I want you to be very careful and watch it and stop your thinking before it comes. Okay? Just focus on the first part. He's a good boy. Okay. And again, look around you and study the people around you who already are exhibiting that behavior, who are loving their boy. What are they thinking? How are they thinking about their son? How are they thinking about themselves as a mom? Ask them. I love to ask people what they think, or why they're doing that, because their answer reveals their thoughts to me. And I just love borrowing other people's thoughts. So please go and do that and report back. How does it work for you? And I love finding that a lot of people in my life already are around me, are doing things that I want to be doing. And all I have to do is look around, and they're like very close to me. So I just borrow their thoughts, and I look at them, and I see them as my teachers, and I see them as examples of what I want to be doing. And so I just go ahead and borrow their thoughts. All right, so that was number 2. The first question was, what does it look like this week? The second one is, what are they thinking? The people who are already doing what you want to be doing. Okay, so those are the first two questions. And then the third question is, what's the smallest version of this that I can actually commit to for the first couple weeks? Okay, so for example, for my yoga, I have committed to trying a new class for 5 weeks. After that, I'm hoping that I will find an instructor that I like. If not, I will then just reevaluate and decide how I want to proceed next. But for now, I want you to you're taking your big goal, big vision, big plan, and shrinking it down to the smallest version of it. And you're figuring out a way to make it super small for you so that it can be super easy for you to commit and to execute, right? I don't want to commit to going to like yoga 5 times a week, or I don't want to commit to a certain studio or a certain instructor because I haven't tried it yet. So I don't want to do that, right? If I told myself I had to do that, I would not do that. So that's why I took a step back and said, okay, I'll just commit to trying. I don't know what it's going to look like. So for you, what is it that you're trying to do? And what is the smallest version of that? For example, for workouts, right? The same thing. I can for sure commit to 1 workout a week. Or I know I'll get to 2 workouts a week for half an hour. But you have to be honest with yourself about this, right? If you know you're going to put 3 workouts on your schedule and you're not going to go to them, then the minimal version for you is once a week. I can for sure make myself go once a week. In terms of you and your son, what does a 0 fights person do on a weekly, daily basis? I have a couple suggestions for you, of course. So one is super simple. Observe your thoughts about your son. There's nothing required of you to do except just say, okay, well, I'm going to notice one thought about my son that I'm thinking, and I'm going to see how it makes me feel. And I'm also going to see what it creates. Does it create a fight, or does it create tension, or does it create connection? That is what I'm willing to commit to once a day. Once a day, I'm going to write down one thought I have about my son. That's an example, right? If that sounds tedious to you, you can commit to, for example, listening without judgment to your son once a day or once a week. It depends on how often you talk to him. Or, right, you can say, okay, my goal is to listen and withhold any reaction or judgment for that conversation, right? And then, of course, as you are withholding it, you will be witnessing your own reaction, and you will then see what it is even afterwards, right? If you didn't react to him on the phone or when you saw him, you will have a chance to see what it is. And awareness is the first step to you changing how you're behaving, to changing the fighting. So if in terms of 0 fights, I really encourage you to just build awareness around your thoughts and your feelings. Your feelings are what fuel the fighting. That's the fuel for your fight. So if you are aware of how you're feeling and what you're thinking, then you will have a lot more options and chances to actually stop the fights, because you will be able to see it. Oh, I see that I'm judging him harshly and I feel angry. Oh, okay, I already have seen that before, and now I'm seeing it now again. So I know it leads to fighting. So right now I'm going to press pause. Do you see how being aware of it gives you an option to opt out of it? Because you know what it leads towards, right? And that's what 0 fights person does. They're just a lot better at pressing pause before they react to something, right? They're still human. They still have human thoughts and judgments and anger and frustration, but they're a lot better at controlling that and then deciding, okay, if I want to create connection here with my son, maybe I won't go down this road. Maybe I'll go down the road of being curious or being interested or, compassion, of course, love, understanding, right? Just all those other options that create connection. Okay, so that's number 3. What's the smallest version of this goal that I can commit to for the next 4 weeks, for example? Okay, make it super easy for you to commit to and to execute. Don't make it super big and ambitious. If you go slow, you'll still get there, right? But if you make it a big demanding list, then if you don't do it, then you don't get anywhere, right? And the last fourth point that I have to give to you is do a pilot. Do you know what a pilot is, right? When they create the sitcoms or a new show on TV, before they commit to it, they always do a pilot, which is the first episode, and then they see how it lands. If there's a good reaction, if people like it, if the investors are happy, then they keep going. And that's what I want you to do. Basically, try it out. Don't tell yourself that you're committed to this forever and ever. Do a test run, do a pilot, and then tell yourself, okay, I'm going to try this out, my new plan, for 4 weeks or 1 week or 3 months. And then after that, I will reevaluate. Just like with my yoga plan, after 5 weeks, I will see, okay, I've tried 5 different instructors, 5 classes. What do I want to do now? Do I want to commit to this one instructor that I found that I like? Or do I want to keep looking and trying? Or do I want to try online, right? What do I want to do? And that's what I want to give you is an option of freedom that you decide to have ahead of time. So before you have this big dream, to have an amazing relationship with your son, or to lose weight, or to do regular workouts. And it sounds so grandiose, and when we're making a plan, we're thinking that we're committing to it for the whole year. But really we're not. Who's making you? Nobody, right? I want to remind you that you can change your mind anytime. But we sometimes forget. We're like, oh, right, I'm the one who's making these decisions. I can just change my mind. And so if you tell yourself this ahead of time, before you begin, you are actually giving yourself a way, a guilt-free way of changing your plan, right? You don't have to feel bad that you changed your plan because it didn't work for you. That was always the plan. You were always going to try it this way and then readjust. And if it's working, keep going. But just make sure you remind yourself that you have a choice. You can just also quit completely, right? If this is not working for you, then change it, right? For example, with you creating a connection with your son, if noticing your thoughts is not working, you can just stop, right? If listening without judgment is not working, you can stop. You can also get help, right? And of course, I want to invite you to come to a free session with me and get that great connection with your son by getting coaching on your thoughts about him. It is super challenging sometimes for us to look at our thoughts that we have about our son when we are already in our head. And that's why having someone else take a look at your thoughts about your son is helpful, because you can get an outsider's look at them and understand, oh, of course, that's what's going on with me and my son. If I'm thinking all these thoughts about him, of course I'm nagging on him and stressed out and are not connecting with him and judging him, and he's pulling away, of course. And so the first session is completely free. I want to invite you to take advantage of that, explore your options, and make a plan, and don't forget to give yourself some compassion. If it's not working, I want you to reevaluate and make new plans. So to summarize, the 4 questions you can ask yourself to get going on that big project, the big dream on getting to be a zero fights person. The first one is, what does it look like this week? Make it super specific into one step. What can I do this week to get going towards my big project? Number 2, what are they thinking? The people who are already doing what you want to be doing, what are they thinking? Study their thoughts. Talk to them, ask them questions, find out their reasons, and borrow their thoughts, because those thoughts are what is driving their actions. It's driving their feelings, and the feelings are creating their action. If they're working out every day, what are they thinking that's getting them to the gym every day? Find out. If they're not fighting with their son, what are they thinking about their son? Super duper important, right? That's number 2. Number 3, what is the smallest version of this that you can commit to for now? Can you commit to being curious just for now, right? Instead of saying, I'm not going to fight with him this time and white knuckling it, that's likely not going to work, because that's a very huge leap for you to take from now. So what can I commit to for this short little while? Okay, I'm going to commit to listening and pressing pause on my reaction and judgment about him, even the good one. I'm just going to go notice it, right? And number 4, I'm going to decide that I'm just going to go try it. This is going to be a trial. It's going to be a pilot. I'm going to just try it out for 4 weeks, and then I will reevaluate. How is it going? I'm going to then decide, okay, I'm going to keep going, or I'm going to make changes, or I'm going to add an extra step, an extra workout, whatever it is. And so those are the first 4 questions you can ask yourself, and to get going on your big dream, your big project, on becoming the zero fights person. I really want you to experience that. And if you want any help with this, I would love to help you. All you have to do is, you can do 2 ways. You can email me at natalia@coachingnatalia.com, or you can go to my website, which is www.coachingnatalia.com, and then go to the sign up for a free session, where you can pick a time that works for you. First session is completely free, and I give you full hour of my attention, and where we explore everything that's annoying the hell out of you, and then I help you fix it. How does that sound? All right. And if you have any feedback to share with me, I would love to hear it too. If you're loving this podcast, please, please, please give me a review on Apple Podcasts. I would love it, because it would help this podcast find other listeners. The more reviews we have, the easier it is for other people to find it. So if you are liking this, forward it to a friend who would also like it as well, and leave a review. Thank you so much, guys. I love you all, and I'll see you next week. Bye.